Heyo everyone! So for this video, it's going to be pretty long, but we're going to go through an entire siege match and I'm going to explain what's going through my head and point out things that are happening. This is something that's been requested and I've wanted to do for a long time, so let's get right into it. To start off with, you have to pick your units and all your weapons and such. So one of the first things I did was think about what weapon I want to take. Normally I take musket as a starter to harass with, but since we are on attack and this is Hidden City, I decided to go Nadachi because I might potentially climb the walls. On top of that, we have to look at units and artillery. So for artillery, I wanted something that either would allow me to help take A or allow me to harass after we take A. So I kind of went with something to help take A, which I think I end up picking a grape shot. Big reason with this is I can set it up on top of one of the towers and harass people that try to come take us, or I can set it up to try to harass around the corner going towards A. On top of that, units, I kind of looked through, tried to see how many ranged we had as a team, how many shields we had as a team, and I kind of noticed we had plenty of range. We were a little bit lighter on shield units, so I stuck with my Simichi and Stalwarts that I used by default, and I decided to go with Palace Guards and Fortebraccio for damage and aggression. So we're going to go ahead and load into the match and see how it goes. Big thing with Hidden City is there is a few tactics for assault that you can go with. You can either try to do a large push up the western flank from that tower, a large flank on the east up the ladders, or you can go for a pretty aggressive frontal assault on one of those towers. You can also potentially do a large team push through the gate, but that is something it's really hard to do in an actual siege match. That's more of a team planned match to do for a large aggressive gate push. So as we load in, the first thing my concern is since with my loadout of leadership, I couldn't fit a pushing unit, I'm going to try to assist the pushing units. I'm going to do that by trying to get on a cannon and take out the enemy artillery. I'm going to throw my units behind a wall to kind of protect them from any enemy artillery. I'm then going to jump on a cannon and try to take out the enemy cannons. So for this cannon, one of the things I know is that I want to actually judge for about the top of that flag, maybe a little bit higher. So that was pretty much dead on. I just need to go a little higher.
The siege tower is advancing. The right siege tower is advancing.
One of the things I'm doing is jumping off. That way, if he were to take out my cannon, I'm not going to sustain as much damage. So he went ahead and took it out. So what I'm going to do now is look at my team situation, and I've decided that I'm going to try to do a harassment roll. So I'm going to go for the eastern side ladders, and I'm going to try to attempt to either flank the guys on artillery up there or to harass them. As I'm coming forward, I do notice that that guy seems to be spotting what I'm doing. So we're going to go for a big harassment and just start throwing ladders up. This is going to potentially distract a lot of their players as they attempt to take down the ladders. So it's going to hopefully give our team an advantage where there's less people attacking our siege equipment and less people potentially going after a tower once it lands. So I'm just throwing up a bunch of ladders. I'm going to actually climb up one of the ladders here to get a judge of what's going on the wall. So I'm trying to see, is anyone actually following along, kicking down ladders, how many people are up here, just get a judge of what the situation is to see if I can start a flank from the wall. As I pop up, I do notice one of the guys is paying attention to what's going on. He's going to start kicking it. I notice he's got some berserkers, so I'm going to judge his situation. So I'm going to get up there, harass him, knock him down. Notice I'm not doing a lot of damage. He's pulling in his units, so I'm going to get out of there. I use the ladder to kind of reduce the fall and barely judge it correctly with a sliver of life left. So I'm going to heal up and I'm going to continue to harass as much as I can. The whole goal here, like I said, is just to distract as many of their players as possible to try to give our team an advantage. We've landed our western tower, so I want to try to make sure that any guys that go up it have as few enemies resisting them as possible. So I'm going to harass as much as I can on this side. So as I'm heading up, I notice there's a guy kicking down, but it is a different guy. So that means I've potentially got 2 or 3 guys over here who are trying to stop me. So that means that's 2 or 3 guys less on the front, and we're only 1 short on the front for me harassing. So I'm trying to give as big advantage to my team as possible. I noticed that the battering ram is pushing and getting kind of close as I'm coming around this corner. So at this point, I'm just going to continue to harass with ladders, and I'm actually debating joining that battering ram and trying to push through and check the gate. There's a large offensive from our enemy team on the western side, and there's a few I know up on this wall that is kicking down my ladders. So I'm starting to debate whether or not they even have a defense behind that gate. So I'm going to just keep harassing till that battering ram gets in place, and I'm going to try to join up with it at this point because I noticed a poleaxe ready to go in. And I'm going to join up with him and actually get a judge for what's happening behind the walls. So another option that you can do at this point is if you purely want to see if there's a defense behind it, you can always place an artillery and follow it as you shoot it over the wall to get a judge. We just kind of went in after the gate opened up to see what's happening. I noticed no pikes sticking out, and as we come through, there's no one. So at this point, it's like, well, we're going to push and flank from behind the wall. So I start turning towards this side because I've been harassing this side the whole time, and I know there's not a lot of people, but my allies go the other way. So I decide I'm going to join up with them to try to get a stronger front. The spear made a mistake and decided to play around with 3 of us, so we're going to go ahead and take him out. I noticed his SOFs, the Sons of Fenrir, so I back off, hit 2 on my palace guards so they can take that blunt, and then I hit it again so they can shield bash and clear him out. We also have this glaive that decided he wanted to come play, so we're going to head over that way. Our maul is going to try to get some free kills on those pikes. I'm going to chase down this glaive and try to take him out. So I noticed he's got archers back there helping him out, so I'm going to back off a little bit. I noticed there's a bunch of enemies over here, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the wall and just try to distract as many opponents as possible. The less of them on the front, the better our team stands a chance of pushing. And I see I've got at least 2 and potentially 3 enemy warlords distracted by 1 person. So I'm trying to take the supply point because that'll waste some of their time as they go to recapture it. And I'm just trying to distract them as much as possible. So I managed to get the supply point. Now I'm just trying to distract as many warlords as possible, so that way my opponent or my allies have a chance of trying to get A and pushing the front. At this point, I know I'm kind of in a lot of trouble, and I notice there's some allies back around the corner, so I go join up with them, try to keep distracting. I've noticed that we've been holding for quite a while, and I see a lot of opponents, but A is not being capped. So I actually run off to get a judge of what's happening and why A is not being capped. As I turn the corner, there's nothing on A that I can see, so I'm a little confused at why our allies aren't trying to take A, so I go and try to jump on A. As I turn the corner, I notice a couple opponents. I'm just in trouble at this point, and I'm gonna die. So I'm trying to do my best to distract them, hoping that maybe some allies will come help, but to no avail. A doesn't get capped. So I'm kind of judging the situation now of where our allies are pushing and what's happening. I notice a few of them starting to build up on that left tower on the front. So I kind of judge what units they have, notice that they don't really have much for shields to help push. So I'm going to then go ahead and pick a shield unit. So we're going to grab our Simichian stalwarts, and we're going to actually help try to push that left tower. So we get our chance to spawn in, grab our Simichians, and we're going to go ahead and join up with all of them on that push towards A. You can notice we got an ally that was trying to harass from the right side. He ended up falling down the wall, but we're going to all push this left side. So I notice a bunch of them standing over there fighting on the point, so I'm going to try to get a treb off real quick. Sadly, I think they all moved out of the way before it really got off. I stop for a sec to get those pikes chance to advance, and then I go in to start clearing them. We're going to pull our shields forward and start pushing. So with Simichians, it's all about that brace and push. So you brace, then you get a little bit of a clear, and then push them forward again and brace again, and you just constantly repeat it. So I'm kind of stretching out, push again, brace. We're just going to start trying to clear as many units as possible. We've got a few of our allies over on the right flank, looking like they're getting in position to start capping A. So we're just going to try to clear and cut off any ally or any opponent allies from being able to push in and try to assist on A. So we're just going to harass, bloodthirsty harass the units as much as possible. Try to help clear them all out. We got some allies coming in from the far west side, and they're joining up with us and helping us clear out now, so we should be able to just clear all these units as quick as possible. So it looks like we're all joined up. We've pretty much cleared out the opponent, so we're going to start pushing on A. Looks like those other 3 guys didn't manage to get any cap on it. As we turn the corner, you do notice there is one guy still over here, a spear with what appears to be spear guards, but I think it's actually the silver era unit as they get closer. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump around him because he's not there to stop me, and we're going to attack from behind. That way they can't get their block chance, and on top of that they take increased damage if you attack them from behind. So we're going to go ahead and flank them, clear them out, and our team is going to go ahead and cap A.
Our team has captured point A.
We're going to go ahead and debate where we're going to push next. I start heading towards this way to look at that supply point, and I notice there's a bunch of opponents still on the wall. So we're going to actually join with our allies and push against all the opponents that are on the wall. We could have ran and tried to quickly push on B, which we do have some allies looking like they're doing that, get the supply point and trying to push around. But I want to prevent our opponents from being able to outnumber our allies. So we're going to join up. We're going to brace in front of those condos and try to give those pikes a chance to wipe them out. That's exactly what they're going to do. So the halbs that were in there just cleared them out pretty hard. We're going to start pushing towards what looks like a weak solo warlord. Oh, hello. All of a sudden there's a longsword. So we're going to go ahead and chase him down. And we're going to push towards this side. We're going to shake our head as someone just wasted a treb on like village watchmen or pike militia, whichever they are. Pike militia, I believe. So yeah, that was a big waste of a treb. So we're slowly walking as we wait for the treb to wear out. Starting to wonder why the guy didn't just run away. And we're going to just run in and clear out all these units. So we're going to try to sprint through. Looks like someone, our shortbow user, got him to knock down. And we cleared him out. So we're going to turn the corner. We're going to get a judge. This looks like there's a lone spear. Got a poleaxe down there. I kind of turn around here and check that my allies are actually pushing with me. And I'm not alone. So we're coming down. See plenty of allies coming from the other way. So we're just going to go aggressively start pushing on this side. So we're going to get in here, knock him down so our allies can clear him out. I missed my second bloodthirsty. But we managed to get him because of our short user. Bow user. So they're starting to push out this side. We go ahead and line up on them and try to push towards the supply point. So we're just clearing up as much as we can, trying to push as a team so that way we win the unit advantage. And we're just pushing in as hard as we can to try to get to the supply point. So you can notice on the map a little bit that there's a pretty good number of people in the alley or main road that's in front of the supply point. So we're kind of lining up, looking at joining up with our allies, but I kind of quickly checked the map and noticed that there's actually a good number of them still in that alleyway. So I'm going to actually head back to the alleyway to help out while my units heal up. They've got muskets lined up, which is really bad for us, and some cavs start charging in. So we're going to kind of stay to the side, let them charge through. And then we're going to come out and start clearing out. So I'm going to bloodthirsty that spear so he can't go anywhere. And then we'll clear him up. My Scimitar stalwarts are now healed up, so we're going to get them pulled out to try to push on those enemies. I look and notice our allies have it, so I actually come over to the other side and try to get the flanker that I notice on the map. So we're going to go ahead and try to take out this mall that wanted to flank from the side. He's kind of in trouble. Got an ally behind him. I think he knows it because he decides to try to run past us. So I'm going to quickly mount up before he has a chance to mount up so I can try to catch up to him to take him out. I really hate the swing off horse, but we managed to get him. So we're going to try to line up our shields to help defend all our allies over here from the Pavis. I'm having, for some reason, a hard time getting them to go into block formation. And eventually I get it, but they start charging and advancing, so we're going to go ahead and stop them. Our allies have B taken care of. They managed to push up the middle and start standing on B, so we're just at this point trying to clear out as many units as possible to keep advantage. We're going to come back and heal real quick. This is why you run the rune that lets you heal through poison and bleed, because I would have died for sure if I did not have that rune on. So we heal up. I have to judge. Do I come and heal my Scimitar stalwarts or push forward? I decide to push forward because we have a huge front of allies. And if we all push together, we're going to be able to keep our momentum going. So we're going to push forward. We're going to go ahead, bloodthirsty that guy, take him out. We're going to go ahead and jump forward on all these really low level archers, take them out. And we're going to push towards the supply point. So from over here at the supply point, we have a lot of issues that we're going to run into. Primary one is we want to push to the supply point, and they're going to have a bunch of ranged units set up. I can see Levies and archers. I set up my stalwarts to try to help guard my allies as they run to the supply point, and I noticed very quickly that they melt, which means they probably have Imperial archers over there, but they're bodkin arrows. So we're going to get the supply point, and I'm kind of judging what I want to do. Do I want to run around with melee units? Do I want to try to sneak around and get out some? And I decide instead what we're going to do is we're going to actually go with artillery. So I'm going to grab a Scorpio, set up a Scorpio, and I'm going to try to lob it over the building and try to take out all of their support that they have set up back there. So we have some allies starting to push forward with pikes. The front trying to happen. I'm going to lob over and attempt to hit them. And as you can see, I overshoot quite a bit because it's really hard to line this up without being able to see. As I shoot this one, you will see someone decide to go ahead and shoot a Treb out there and start clearing up a bunch of them. So we're going to lob another one over and get a judge of what's happening. They're pretty much wiped out at this point. So we're going to actually lob one towards their spawn point and get an idea of if we can hit it, where we can hit it, and what we can hit. So we can easily clear it. Problem is, it's really hard to line this up since I can't see units. I don't know where they're at their walking point. So I kind of just lob it, realize this isn't going to work, jump off, and decide to help join the push. So there's only about 2 minutes, 20-ish seconds, somewhere in there, of time left. So I grab my DPS unit, my Fortebraccio, grab a Huacha in case I need it to help push, and we're going to go ahead and join up with our allies on the push. So like I said, there's only 2:20 left in the match. It takes about 30 seconds to cap a point. So we need to get in there pretty quickly. We don't have much time left. So we're going to go ahead and try to take out these flankers that flanked our allies. We're going to pinch them off, and then we're going to join that frontal push. I kind of peer around the corner, you can see, to make sure that nothing is going to flank and take out my units as they're walking up. We get lined up with these shields, and we get a really strong defensive wall set up. So at this point, we need to push forward. So I'm actually going to start slowly inching forward by pikes after I get a judge of what's around that corner. So you'll see I'm going to start micro walking my pikes forward. So this is partially to get a better lineup, and also I'm trying to encourage that shield unit to push forward. So we're going to start inching forward bit by bit. So they march forward, I march forward. I get a little ahead of them because if they're paying attention, they should move their shields forward as we walk, but they're not. I continue to push forward, hoping to encourage them to push forward with their shields. They don't. My units are getting massacred by that Huacha. I get taken out, and they're not pushing. So I actually am going to type a message in telling them to push forward. So walk the shields forward. Earlier I told them to walk forward as well. Just for some reason, they're not walking forward. We only have 20 seconds to try to get capping, and we have this strong defensive wall, but we are attackers, not defenders. So they're just sitting there. I'm kind of looking through, seeing who has the shield units, and they're just not walking forward. So at this point, we've lost the match. It takes 30 seconds to cap. We hit 30 seconds. It's over. So I'm not even really going to be spawning in too much because I misjudged how much time is left. But the match is over. So the big thing with this match was we actually have unit advantage. We're at 338 left versus 160 for the opposing team. Right now we are really dead. We only have 5 warlords versus their 10. And the match is over at this point. But towards that end, what should have happened is we should have marched forward those shield walls to defend the pikes that I marched forward. And the range would have just stayed back and continued to assist anyway. And if we had pushed forward those shields, we would have had actually a really good chance to win. We just needed to overwhelm the point with how much time was left, and our guys just kind of sat there and didn't do anything. So as you can see, we did a good job. Our Symmetry and Stalwarts got 70 kills. We got 3 hero kills, and we had gotten 131 troop kills. So I hope this kind of gave you a good idea of what's going through my head and what I'm considering and thinking about during a match. If it did, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to see more of these, maybe ones for like field battles and other types of battles, or just another one for Siege to kind of help with a different map, let me know down below in the comments. With that, until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield. I'm dead. Gosh, those stupid little kids.